Welcome, welcome! It's my dog with the Texas Space Navy bringing you another Star Citizen video. And today we're going to take a look at Inside Star Citizen for May 13th, 2021. It was an interesting one. How good it is going to be kind of up to you and everybody else in the community. They talked about capacitors and missile operator mode. First up was capacitors. I kind of have mixed feelings on this. So capacitors are going to give people the ability, when they overcharge their weapons, to have a little extra energy for a short period of time that they can use expending those weapons. So like, let's say you've got a couple of Panther repeaters and you've overcharged them, it'll build up a certain amount of storage in that capacitor that you're going to be able to use initially, or as soon as you want to in that combat. So it'll fire the shots off much quicker, probably much harder, so it could be very effective and very deadly. Right now, when you overcharge weapons, there's really not much drawback. There could be some cooling issues, but really there's not a whole lot of drawback. So this I can see bringing a little more drawback to it. Now you should be able to overcharge shields and other components as well and use the capacitors in that way. But mostly they talked about weapons and using the capacitors for weapons to give you an advantage in combat. So at first I was thinking, well, ballistics have some advantage as far as hitting power, whereas beam or energy weapons have an advantage on being infinite, so you don't run out of bullets, so to speak. Capacitors may give a little more limit on energy weapons, but it just depends on how they actually execute this. Now, once you've depleted that capacitor's worth of energy weapon or energy, so to speak, what's going to happen then? Does it just go back to firing normal? Does it recharge until you can expend it again? What's going to happen with that weapon whenever you use the capacitor in that way? My guess is it'll just go back to firing normal. That's probably what should happen, because you still want to give energy weapons some sort of advantage over ballistics, if you're giving ballistics the hitting power, so to speak, over the energy weapons. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure that's how it's going to turn out. They didn't exactly clarify that. I bet we'll get a Q&A on this when it comes out. So what do you guys think of capacitors? And do you have any strategies on how you're going to use it? I mean, are you going to dump some of this excess energy into shields early on in combat so you could counteract all the people that are going to put it into their weapons? Or are you going to do it like what most people probably will do and put it into weapons? Or are you going to even use the capacitors in that form at all? I'm curious, because I hardly ever overcharge my weapons in combat. Hardly ever. It's very rare that I do that. Because, I don't know, I go for the longevity rather than burning them out quickly, because they can overpower your coolers. But yeah, let me know what you think. Are you in favor of these capacitors? Do you think it's really going to add something to the gameplay? I honestly don't think it's going to add a whole lot unless the damage output is that much better with them on. I don't know. I just don't think it's going to add a tremendous amount to the gameplay personally. Yeah, you can continue to tweak your ship to your heart's content, but I just ultimately I don't think it's going to add that much to the experience. Again, I haven't experienced it yet, so I don't know. We'll have to find out whenever it does come out on how much of a difference it will make. Next thing they talked about was missile operator mode, or technically it started off with just operator mode. They said, we've got mining, scanning, quantum. Those are all different kinds of operator modes. Now they're going to add the missile operator mode. So the way that we fire missiles right now is going away. They're going to change that and bring in this missile operator mode. If you're the kind of guy that likes to fly your ship solo, that means you have to make a big decision in combat. Are you going to keep firing your guns at a target, Or are you going to fire missiles? You can no longer do both if you're flying solo. You have to choose. You're either going to be in your gun mode or you're going to be in your missile mode. When you switch to missile mode, you can lock on as many missiles as you want. At least that's what they said. Right now, we're currently limited by how many launchers you have. They said you'll be able to lock on as many as you want and fire. The missiles will act a little differently than they have in the past. They now have a version of the IFCS, which is the flight model. They have fuel, so they don't have infinite power. They do have a definitive amount of fuel. And they said that if you're capable of evading a missile, that they probably don't have much of a chance of coming back on you. Maybe a slight chance of coming back and reacquiring target lock on you. So there's 3 different modes or 3 different parts to the way the missiles work right now, or work in the game in the future in this missile operator mode. First is the initial launch stage, where it'll boost. I think they call it the boost stage, really, but they'll boost up the speed as fast as they can. Then you have the second stage, where they acquire target and try to fly towards the target as best they can at speed. And then the third phase or third stage is when they really try to hone in on the target. So they're going to be much tighter in their maneuvering towards the end there. They're going to burn up more fuel trying to maneuver to be on target. So kind of interesting there. There are some other aspects to this gameplay. Now they are showing off a couple of different ships in the co-pilot seats. This is where this gameplay is really going to shine, at least right now, is in co-pilots. So any ship that has like a co-pilot chair, whether it's a Constellation, a Hammerhead, your 600i, whatever it is, you're going to be able to use that co-pilot chair now for missile operator mode. So if you are firing the guns or piloting in the pilot chair, somebody else can be in the co-pilot chair firing those missiles at the very same time. That makes you pretty deadly in certain ships, especially like Connie Andromedas. Hammerheads can be for sure, but the pilot used to have control of the missiles there. I don't know why they wouldn't still, personally, because you could still fly and use the operator mode. Look at the single player ships. Anyways, that's a whole nother gripe that we may not get an answer for. But yeah, Connie Andromedas are going to start being pretty nasty. Even Reclaimers should have, if they have missiles, which, does the Reclaimer have missiles? I don't think it does. But it does have operator modes. Like I said, the Origin 600i series. There's quite a few ships out there that have a secondary seat. The Banu Defender. These will all be able to use that missile operator mode, and it could be quite deadly if used in conjunction with the pilot. So I'm very interested to see how all this is going to play out with you guys who are doing multi-crew ships. We're going to have to find out how much you like it compared to the old mode. I think it has potential. I'm worrying a little bit that they are trying to do anything to give another person a job on the ship. Like, it's almost forced, and it's not natural necessarily. Then again, I mean, it's not unnatural to have somebody controlling missiles while somebody else is piloting or controlling guns, in my opinion. It seems somewhat natural there. But what are they going to do when more engineering and power management and stuff comes online? Is this missile operator mode going to go to somebody else? Is it going to go back to the pilot? What are we going to get here for missile operator mode? You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. I do appreciate everybody that's been tuning in and watching the videos as of late. Did you get to watch this inside Star Citizen? What do you think about it as a whole? What do you think about it in parts, the capacitors, the missile operator mode? Please let me know. I am very interested to get that discussion going. Once again, if you're interested in contributing to the channel, that information will be in the description of this video. Look up the Patreon and YouTube members. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy, and I'll see you guys out in the verse.